So this mesh is a little bit of a mess. And if we go into edit mode, unhide everything, we can see that we've got sort of a Frankenstein's monster. Basically what we've done is, as we've learned about different things we can do, we've been sort of hodgepodging this together with different shapes, cylinders, cubes, spheres, and what have you. And the result is this very inconsistent topology. And there's a few things. I can see that we've got holes in the mesh. I can see that we have deleted this side of the geometry and applied a mirror modifier so that what happens here happens here. But that's being inconsistently applied here because we added another form to this mesh. There's a lot of different things we can do to try to fix things up. But one thing we could do quite simply is referring back to the good old remesh that we've done in the past. So if I tab into object mode and under data properties, make sure that I go to remesh and select voxel remesh. And well, that didn't quite work. We're getting holes in our mesh. Maybe because it's not manifold, it's not airtight, or whatever the case might be. There's different ways to remesh. What if we go to the modifiers menu and we add a modifier and we generate a remesh? Now, there's more options if we remesh using a modifier. There's voxel, there's sharp, there's smooth. So maybe that gives us some more options. Now, while the remesh is not complete yet because I have not applied it, it seems a lot better. There's no holes that are distinctly showing, but I do have some problems here. So I could play around with the settings. Before I do anything, I'm actually going to go ahead and I'm going to apply this and see what happens. Well, that's not good. So let's Control Z. Remember that modifiers can interfere with one another, and the order of operation matters quite a bit. So if we take the remesh and move it up, well, we still seem to have a problem. So let's go ahead and take this mirror modifier and let's apply it. Get that off of the table, and then we can consider what happens. So now if I go ahead and I apply this, all right, it seems to have worked. However, as I noted, I still have these problems down here. So let's undo that and look at some of the other options. I could try adjusting the voxel size, and it seems to be doing a much better job. There's still a connection here, but that's a lot easier to deal with than it happening in multiple places. Now, here's the problem, is if I look and if I apply this, this gives me 97,800, nearly 98,000 vertices. I'm not sure if I'm a fan of that, as opposed to the 15-some thousand. Now, granted, there was a lot less detail, but there's always that trade-off to be aware of. The other thing to be aware of, too, though, is there's different ways of remeshing. There's this blocks option. If we select this, it tries to turn this into blocks. Now, that's incredibly basic. Actually, it's kind of fun in a way. Let's just take the octree depth up and see what we get. Okay, so this could work, depending on what we're looking for. It definitely seems to be working consistently. Now, this is not what I'm looking for. So let's look at the smooth option. And when this was set just at 4, this is what it gives us. And if we go with something a higher resolution, let's just try 8 again. And it maintains a lot of detail. Takes it up to around 79,000 vertices, and I'm not getting the degradation that I was with the other ways of going about it. So let's just take a peek at sharp and see what that does for us. Setting the octree depth at 4, like it was initially at, gives us something like this. Again, it's kind of neat. I actually kind of like that guy. But that's not what we're doing right now. Let's take that back up to the 8s and see what it gives us. And again, retaining a reasonable amount of the detail and giving us around 79,000 vertices. And while there is a connection there, that's pretty easy for me to fix. Now, there's some things that happen on the surface, but those are things that we could fix up if we chose to. So I'm going to go ahead and apply this. And let's take a look at the geometry. Much more consistent. Definitely some issues that need to be dealt with. And there are some holes in the mesh, but that's something we can take a look at.